Greetings, nerdy list aficionados, and we're back. I'm Sasha, and
I'm Johnny Rogers.
And today we're gonna be paranoid yet again, I think.
Pretty paranoid.
Yeah. Because today we're talking heroes who should probably be villains, and most of them have been.
And honestly, every time that after watching The Boys, now I see every hero as a villain, so this could get controversial.
You were like that before, though. When you started the overpowered list, you already want them all stopped.
Oh, they got all be stopped.
I'm worried.
Mainly because I want the powers. I'm secretly the villain here.
That's the thing. This is just our plan to become supervillains. These are the top 10 superheroes who would make better villains. Number 10. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. So Hal Jordan was a villain for a while after he went off the deep end post the destruction of Coast City during the Death of Superman event. It drove him insane. He tried to recreate it with his ring, including his loved ones. He grew out some Reed Richards hair streaks, he killed the Green Lantern Corps, snapped Sinestro's neck, took up the name Parallax, then ultimately redeemed himself in Zero Hour by diving into the sun to save the world. Okay, then he was resurrected as the host for the Spectre, the Spirit of Vengeance, and eventually was just brought back to life. Here's the thing, it was then retconned that all that Parallax stuff was just the result of an evil fear entity, that Parallax was a fear entity that pushed him over the edge, so kinda sorta not his fault, but it still kinda was. But if you brought it up, then you're the jerk. Who do you think you are, Batman? Hal is low because he works well as a hero, but he's also a compelling villain. It doesn't have to go murdering the entire Corps far again, but for example in Injustice when he joined the Sinestro Corps, which he has done also in other continuities, it was pretty compelling stuff. You can do a lot with Hal that doesn't involve bringing him back to base. We already did the villain Hal arc, it was good, so can we do it again?
In at number 9, the Silver Surfer. In the late 1960s, the Silver Surfer was viewed as more of a hero than a villain, at least in terms of the Marvel comic books. He would go on to become a herald for Galactus, but it was only so that he could save his home world of Zenn-La. Sure, that was a pretty heroic act, but following this, he also assisted Galactus in not just finding, but consuming dozens of populated planets. In the movie Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, the heroes confront the arrival of the Silver Surfer and rightfully view him as a threat. In our opinion, this is a much better usage of the Galactus Herald. The Silver Surfer makes for a much better villain than a hero just by the way we saw him easily handle the Human Torch in that movie. How much better would it have been if the Silver Surfer never rebelled against Galactus, but instead became evil from his own motivations?
Number 8. Jason Todd. Jason Todd has had quite the journey towards his path of anti-heroism. This began with his resurrection in Batman Under the Hood. This was his official resurrection. There was another, but it was changed because fans guessed the twist. Jason Todd was the second Robin, killed unceremoniously via telephone vote in 1988. Upon his return, he was a villainous character, full-on villain for a bit, though he thought he was an anti-hero. He was pretending to be Nightwing for a bit, but this was because Nightwing was supposed to die, then Jason was a tentacle monster for a bit. Anyways, the point is, since Rebirth and the New 52 really, he's been in an anti-hero-ish, black sheepish position in the family. He's now also in that position that many former Robins who aren't Nightwing end up in, which is, what exactly do you do with them now? Jason becoming one of Bruce's villains may be a great way to encapsulate the level of his failure. The kind of strained relationship they now have can be viewed as a bit of a retread. Some even feel he should die again, while others are like, how dare you. Like most on this list, it's a mileage varies thing. Still could be interesting to go there again. Post Rebirth, now's the time.
Now in at number 7, Harley Quinn. First appearing in the Batman animated series episode titled Joker's Favor, Dr. Harleen Frances Quinzel was simply viewed as overly devoted to the Joker regardless of his psychotic nature. In the comic books, when learning about Harley's origins, we found out that she was a psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum who fell in love with the Joker. This confused a lot of people as to which side this character resides. Is she actually a good person who just got in with the wrong crowd, or is she truly a villain? We say a little bit of both actually. Some may still hold her as secretly being a superhero, but we all know that the day Harley Quinn met the Joker changed her forever. She went from a timid psychiatrist to being one of the key players in the Joker's team of psychos. Add the fact that she even carries an oversized hammer as a weapon and you'll agree that Harley Quinn is a much better villain.
Number 6. Reed Richards. I know, I hear you. Lay off of Reed, you say, but hear me out. Recently, at the time of this recording, Reed had to fight an evil version of himself called the Maker, and this was actually the version from the Fantastic Four Ultimate verse, Earth 1610. So Ultimate Reed's mind is as flexible as his body, that's a quote, and that includes his morality. There's nothing holding the Maker back, and when Reed encounters him, it's like looking into a dark mirror. That, coupled with him losing his family, has catapulted main verse Reed into nice guy Reed. However, the Marvel Universe has flirted with a dark Reed for years. His own son was afraid he was gonna go psychotic and kill them all for a while. He infected rejected the Fantastic Four on purpose. He joined the Illuminati. He joined a council of alternate versions of himself, many of whom were evil and wielded infinity gauntlets. You could make Reed a really cool behind-the-scenes villain who has been for years. He's manipulating everybody. He could really do some damage, and while his family would be oblivious, they always are. Listen, don't take Jerk Reed away from me. I need him.
I feel like if Reed were became a bad guy, we'd still call him Nice Guy Reed. Like they'd be like, where's Reed? Oh, Nice Guy Reed? Yeah, we need him to blow up a planet. In at number 5, Terra. This is another one of those supposed heroes that walk a very thin line between good and evil many times. Most fans of Terra will jump to say that she was portrayed as a tragic heroine in the animated Teen Titans series, and fans will even show sympathy for her. However, let's be honest, she's betrayed the Teen Titans and her mentor is Deathstroke. Her character, if you look closely, is actually a hero-loathing sociopath that displays little remorse. Just because she was portrayed as a tragic villain in the series doesn't mean that she would be a better superhero. Once a villain, always a villain.
Number 4, Cyclops. Insert your jerk Cyclops jokes here. Cyclops, he's made some decisions that are just, well, yeah, they get pretty narratively intense. Cyclops is one of the original mutants from X-Men #1 from 1963. He's one of the notable leaders of the X-Men and renowned for his abrasive leadership style, which often causes him to clash with his fellow X-Men, particularly Wolverine. As the years went on, he got into some dubious territory, sanctioning and sending off X-Force, encouraging mutant segregationism. Although at the time there were very few of them left and toiling with sketch, but still. Cyclops has gone to great lengths to jumpstart the mutant population after Scarlet Witch's whole No More Mutants thing. He killed Professor X. He's been dubbed by some as the mutant Hitler, but all the while he has stood by what he has done. Transitioning Scott into being a villain would be interesting, and some feel that is exactly what has happened. He'd be one of those chilling ones who believes that everything they are doing is for the greater good. I like Cyclops. Maybe it's time for him to acknowledge and embrace his dark side, permanently.
In at number 3, Kane Parker. Also known as the Scarlet Spider, Kane is the first of 5 clones created by Jackal in his attempt to manufacture the perfect version of Peter Parker. Little weird, but okay. Currently, Kane Parker is the only remaining clone to have taken up the mantle of the Scarlet Spider, and there's a couple events that went down early on after Kane had survived the degeneration process that Miles had put him into, and if you didn't see him as a hero, you would say, wow, this guy is pure evil. First of all, Kane developed the ability to leave what would be called the Mark of Cain, which was an acidic touch that would burn a specific marking on a victim's face. That's messed up. Plus, after becoming romantically involved with Detective Louise Kennedy in Salt Lake City, Kane killed her once discovering that she was working with criminals. That's some pretty anti-hero stuff right there, and in our opinion, those very few early actions in his life as the Scarlet Spider make him a much better villain than a superhero. I mean, come on.
Number 2, Namor. So Namor first debuted in motion picture funnies back in 1939 and has long been operating in an anti-hero, sometimes villain capacity. And while it could be argued that he's more efficient as a villain, he just has a huge kill count and the arrogance to match it. He's often in that is he with us or against us mode, and anyone who's joined the Illuminati must be eyed askance. They were a secret team that was trying to preemptively deal with threats. It got pretty ugly. One of the reasons that Namor may make a better permanent villain is that everything is already set up for him to be one. He has his own kingdom, his own army, his squabbles with Black Panther, he's quasi-friends with Doom, he's out to steal Reed's girl. Come on, Sue Storm, Queen of Atlantis, it's happened before, it can happen again. Now admittedly, you do need neutral parties out there to keep you on your toes, wondering just can you count on them or no. But at the same time, there are some epic battles to be had with a full-time villain Namor. And I mean, if it goes too far, we can always have Hyperion decapitate him again. That was fun.
Last but not least, in our number 1 spot, the Punisher. For starters, the original concept of the Punisher was for him to be a villain called the Assassin. He was rightfully classified as an anti-hero, which means that just because he does heroic acts doesn't necessarily mean they are moral by any stretch of the imagination. If you've watched the Punisher on Netflix, you know by now that he is very gratuitous when it comes to killing people for his own personal mission. This is at the base level the motivations for most supervillains, and a look into the idea that he would actually be a better villain. In fact, the Punisher has taken on the role of the villain in the past. The Punisher is no doubt a good superhero, but if he were to suddenly do away with any moral consciousness that he has left, Frank could for sure be superior as a villain.
Alright, so those were 10 heroes who might make better villains. What do you think? Did we miss some people? Do we need to add some people?
Yeah, is there any off the top that you like, any special mentions that you'd like to
all of them.
They're all secretly villains. You'll find out.
They need to be stopped.
They all need to be stopped.
Thanks so much for watching Top 10 Nerd. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification for more videos, and we will see you again soon. Bye!